Hello, and welcome to the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Indie PopCon, Gen Con, and the gaming capital of the world, we are The Established Facts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 165 of The Established Facts. This is our 2017 in review. It is now 2018. So, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And in case we missed you before the other holidays, I hope you all had a great Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Festivus for the rest of us, as we tried to say earlier and didn't
Christmaka.
Crispahana Kwanzaa.
Crispahana Kwanzaa.
Happy Hanukkah. Yeah, Crispahana Kwanzaa.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
That's right.
That's what that is right there. Anyway.
I haven't figured out how to get Festivus in there yet.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe next year.
In Ragnarok.
In Ragnarok.
Christmas Festival.
Wait, is that what you call it?
Ragnar Narok.
That's his holiday.
Ragnarok.
Thor.
I know.
Thor came out. A little mini
did?
holiday.
He
did
finally
know.
came out. I'm so proud of him.
What?
Odin!
They do have the Rainbow Bridge, after all.
Oh my god. Or
Well,
Derek's
all right.
going to kill us.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so anyway, welcome to The Established Facts. If you are a new listener, we want to thank you for joining us.
I heard he became a woman.
This is our first episode of 2018.
We made it. Another year. Yay.
And there was much rejoicing.
we sound so enthused.
So before we get into
Could be that it's
our
early or late, depending on the time zone where you are right now.
That's true. Before we get into our 2017 review and what we're looking forward to in 2018, let's go ahead and go around the table and do our introductions, and I will start to my left.
This is Princess Katie.
Rhaegar, a.k.a. Jeremy.
I'm Avital.
Lance?
Josh.
And I, of course, am your host with the most, Big Don.
With the most what?
Personality, charisma.
You
got
might
strength
hear
check.
Got a
another...
great set of personalities.
I have the
Gauntlet
most kids.
thrown down.
Do I need to keep going?
A host with the most
That I know.
children.
That's
Let's be
true.
clear on that. I have been around the
host
world.
with the most children.
You might
XY
hear
chromosomes.
another voice jump in later. That will be Dr. Deb.
That's right. Dr. Deb is somewhat with us, but the Demeries are obviously going through potty training drills,
Yes.
which is obviously the most exciting thing in Josh Demery's world right now.
So, well, that on top of we're expecting
Birthing
baby number
practice,
2
yeah.
anytime now, within the
Any
next couple
minute,
of weeks.
like,
Well,
we're
dude,
going to
yeah.
have to stop
Whoa.
recording the podcast.
Yeah.
2018 highlights. We're holding off to that later.
Yeah, geez. Spoiler
The
alert.
2017 highlight was
That's right.
Whoopsie.
That's right. So, we're going to get into some of our favorite gaming and non-gaming events for the year of 2017, talking about some of the things that we really loved doing and participating in and what we're looking forward to near the end of the episode for 2018. Some of the really neat stuff that is already coming to fruition and what we hope will also eventually come around the corner. So, with that being said, I would like us to go around and discuss what our favorite game was for 2017. Now, this can be any type of game, whether it be a video game or a live-action role-play, tabletop, or board game, anything like that. So,
finding parking in downtown Indianapolis during Gen Con.
yeah, that's that is a
That's not a fun game. That's literally torture. That's fun like waterboarding.
Literally torture.
literally
torture.
Yes,
You've
because
never
you have to read every single thing to see if you can park there.
True.
you've never ridden in a car with me. Does it have to be a game that debuted this year, or just
No,
something
just
we
a game you
played?
played this year.
Okay,
Well,
like for the
Last
first time. Yeah, this past year.
I mean, even if it's like even if you've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for the last 20 years and you just had an epically awesome game, that would count.
Okay.
Or a brand new game. It doesn't matter. Who wants to start? Anybody?
I know mine.
Bueller? Go ahead, Josh.
We mentioned this during the Fear the Con review from earlier in the year, but I really enjoyed running the Doctor Who game that I played at Fear the Con.
I'll just scratch that off my moment.
Based on where you paused, I thought you were going to stop at running. My highlight was running.
Running's not a game.
Lots of that.
It's a game.
That's a game
That was
of...
the first thing
It depends.
I was like,
For Josh
If
and
there's
I...
a dog chasing you,
For Josh and I, that's a
That's
game of
not
life
a
or
game
death.
either.
Sorry.
Not a game. That's terrifying.
I thoroughly enjoyed that game for many reasons, as I mentioned in that review podcast, but probably more than anything, it was the willing involvement of three of my closest friends, Adam, Avital, and Lance, to take on these...
You're welcome.
Well, Adam and Avital being the Doctor and original companion, and Lance being the apathetic bartender.
How does that make you feel, Josh?
But the other three players that were with us, who were the aliens on the ship that this TARDIS just landed onto, they just went with it and really had a lot of fun with it. And so much so that I'm already planning the next adventure of the Doctor for Fear the Con 9. So, or Fear the Con 2018 or whatever.
Fear the
It's
Con 11.
Fear the
yeah.
Con, this one goes to 11.
I'm sorry. The
XI.
9 was stuck in my head because BillCon 9 is this year.
That's right.
In October, so we're kind of
Indie
excited
PopCon
about that.
5.
But yeah, I'd have to.
It's the year of sequels, people.
So much so. So yeah, I would have to go with the Quags game of the Doctor saving. What was it? Not Blue 3, Terra. What
Teal.
was it? Teal.
Teal
Teal
5
3 or
or
Teal
Teal
5?
5. That's what.
I don't remember.
Teal 5.
A.K.A. Earth.
Earth. The salvation of Teal 5.
Compliments for not losing focus as I was making funny faces at you.
You tried. It was good.
All right.
Mine would be Heroes of the Storm. It's a PC game. Hosted,
It's a MOBA.
Yeah, owned by
what?
Blizzard, and I've been playing. It's my go-to
Multiplayer
right now.
online battle arena. MOBA. It's like League of Legends, except it has all these different Blizzard characters in it from all their different properties.
So like the M&M and the Reese's Pieces or the Oreo.
Not Dairy,
Let's
not
go
Dairy
with that.
Queen Blizzard. Not the Dairy Queen Blizzard.
But those are delicious.
Yes, they are.
Indeed.
Overwatch, World of Warcraft,
Diablo.
StarCraft.
those games.
Overwatch.
All of the universes are coming together, and
So it's it's Super Smash Brothers for the PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Well,
Except
in
it's
an
team-based.
arena instead
Yeah.
of being like a side. It's top-down arena style combat.
It's a really fun game.
I have not played it.
Of Doom.
I did say it, Doom.
Of Doom.
We kept adding adjectives to it. If you're going to add descriptors to it, you
Yellow.
have to include of Doom.
Yeah, yellow.
Yellow.
It's the yellow.
It's the yellow one.
That's your new arena for Heroes of the Storm.
Yellow.
The Arena of Doom. That's it. That's what I
Yellow.
call
The yellow arena
it.
of
Yellow
Doom.
Arena of Doom.
Suspiciously yellow arena.
That's right.
Is that snow?
Long distance, suspicious, yellow Arena of Doom.
Long distance.
I feel like this is part of your improv classes.
Yes, and
Who's next?
I'll go. My favorite tabletop game this year or last year was the Batman pop-up game that we did at BillCon. It was kind of fun. My favorite role-playing game was the Ravenloft Carnival. That was just a comedy of errors, I think, is what I've been calling that one. A lot of mistakes have been made. A lot of
We fought a
good
rope.
times.
Life choices questioned.
You fought
We fought a rope.
a rope.
My brother decided to pull 3 cards out of the deck of many things.
A stacked deck of many things, mind you.
We fought a rope. I just can't get it. We fought a
It is
rope.
Fought a
true.
rope.
Which way did it go?
Huh? We defeated the rope.
Were you pulling
We
it
captured
or
the
pushing
rope.
it?
Captured
because
the rope.
we
No,
still have
they
the
were
rope.
attacking the rope and losing.
That's sad.
Did you get tied up?
Eh.
No,
Actually.
my brother did.
Yeah. I was standing outside
He was
shooting it
grappled
with,
by
with
the
my
rope.
longbow,
Yeah, I was gonna
only to
say.
find out that one of my party members had set the tent on fire.
Yeah, and then released a pseudo dragon that we could have totally made a friend.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was memorable.
Well, to be fair, I did set the tent on fire. However, I did not set the thing free. That was someone else cutting into the tent.
Yeah, I know. That was my brother.
I did deal the most and receive the most damage in the same battle.
I think I used the most spells and to no avail. Literally did nothing.
No avail.
Literally did not. As a matter of fact, I'm the bard of the party in this game, and I have used Magic Device and a fairly high charisma bonus and could not deactivate the animated rope. However, my brother, who is playing a rogue, who has a crap charisma score, rolled a nat 20 on it.
It felt a lot like we were first level characters.
That's
in a
exactly
10th
what
level
it-
game.
That's exactly what it felt
The
like.
game took 5 hours of non-stop gaming. A
Yeah.
few breaks here and
Yeah.
there, but non-stop gaming. And we didn't do anything.
We didn't do
The
anything.
game finally
No,
said,
that's not true.
You're not
We
going to
set-
beat this.
That's right.
Move forward.
We set the tent on fire,
We rescued a character.
and then we got illusioned by some mysterious gesture thing that we'd never seen, and pulled a bunch of cards from a deck of mini things that really did not do nearly as good of as it could have done.
The
Versus the
paladin of Sarenrae got turned into a ghost.
A ghost. Well, you were
An undead.
you were
Yeah.
disintegrated.
I was turned into a ghost.
Yeah.
Via disintegration.
My characters left the combat arena to go do their ritual and never returned.
And never returned. Yeah. It
Yeah,
was,
so some things happened in that one.
Things happened.
Who's next game favorite?
gosh.
Well, I have two. My favorite video game. This is very, very late 2017, but I got a Switch for Christmas, and I finally got Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
How did I know it was going to be his? As soon as you said Switch, I was like, it's a Zelda
I'm
game.
so excited to play that game.
It is such an amazing game. So
By the
for
way,
me-
it is on Wii U or Nintendo Switch. Those interested.
That's true. I didn't have a Wii U, so I figured might as well go for the Switch.
Yep.
So for me, it's wonderful on multiple levels because Zelda is my favorite franchise, but it is an open world game, and anyone who knows how much I love open world RPGs, I'm like, look at this crafting item. I'm just going to go collect 75 of these. Main quest? What? No, I'm just exploring. I'm picking flowers. Like, it's wonderful. It's everything I love about
there
Dragon
chickens?
Age. Yes.
Okay.
There are, of course, there's chickens. It's everything I love about like the Dragon Age series and stuff like that, but with my favorite franchises, my favorite characters. So it's a really interesting departure from the typical Zelda game, but if you're a lifelong Zelda fan, you're gonna love it. It's not enough of a departure that it's too different. That was definitely like my favorite video game. I played that. I have been playing that. I was playing that literally an hour before I was supposed to come to the podcast.
Well, the nice thing is you're playing on a Switch,
Yeah.
which means
It's wonderful.
It's portable.
I thought about bringing it with me, but then I didn't.
you would have been completely distracted.
Well, not during the podcast. Oh, heck no.
Katie. Hang on, I got to get one more rupee.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to be quiet and do that. So,
Yeah.
and then my favorite like board game, tabletop game. We got this game on Black Friday called Kanagawa, and it is it's a quote unquote painting game. You are a student of a famous Japanese painter, and you're painting these long illustrative scrolls, and you get bonuses for having the most seasons in a row or having there's like characters, like different characters and stuff. It's actually a really, really fun and interesting game. Like,
Does it use like cards that you have to lay next to each other? Or is it
yeah, and
tiles?
yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
it's cards that you lay out to make this print, and it's a really fun and interesting game. Like, but it's simple enough that you can learn it quickly.
Okay.
That was a breakout game for me because it's aesthetically pleasing but still fun.
Cool. Well, Avital, did you have yours? Go for it. I wasn't sure.
I think I'm gonna have to go with LARP being my favorite game.
Which one?
Do you have a specific game in mind?
Werewolf.
Vampire?
Yeah. I only just started Vampire at the end of 2017. Although that was
the LARP?
what?
UPS the LARP.
Oh no, that's not my favorite. That's just how I make money. But no, the Vampire LARP was fantastic because I like ripped clothes up and like put mud and fake blood all over them, and I was like new, and it was great. Anyways, but no, it would be Werewolf. I think specifically there was a special event I went to called Equinox, which happened right around the equinox.
That seems a little on the nose.
In September.
The 23rd was around the equinox.
I mean, it was because it was a couple days.
Yeah.
Anyways, and like my character is in a position to like have some like extra special powers, and like I use as a there's 5 levels that you can get to, and the 5th level is Elder, and I'm at the 2nd level, which is Foster in the werewolf game. And I had access to an Elder level power, and I used it on like this immensely powerful vampire that we were fighting, and I actually succeeded. Like, I had to throw a bunch of chops, which is the rock, paper, scissors that we use in LARP, for anyone that doesn't know. And like, I was getting really lucky on chops. Charps.
You were getting sharper on your chops.
And I was beating her on ties, and then she even like had another power like after that I had succeeded to try and like not, and I beat her on that too, and it was like the most amazing thing. And everybody's, because like there's this power called Head Games where you can take control of somebody's like emotions, which is very intense. And we were fighting her and her Sedite companion, who is also another very powerful vampire. And so I made her hate him, and she ate him. So that took out one of our 2 very powerful
Setites
foes.
are the followers of Set, or the snake, and
Sure.
they can sometimes swallow things and people whole.
Oh, like a snake, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Anyways, but like I did a really amazing thing and like took out one of the 2 very powerful opponents that we were having trouble with.
So she Diablerized her own dude.
Oh yeah,
That's
done.
awesome.
Well done.
it was great.
That is awesome. I actually went to the
7th Age.
Yeah, that was a really good time. I had a really good time with that.
It's very cool.
Am I the only one left?
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
Deb?
Deb, I guess. Deb,
Favorite
do you
game?
have a favorite game for 2017?
Well, I really don't know how I'm going to follow up Avitals after that. I'm like, didn't eat anybody, didn't defeat like a ultra crazy high level vampire. So I'm like, I think I'm going to just pass and knit and let the rest of you know.
She liked the Pathfinder Society we did at Gen Con.
I did like the Pathfinder
those were
Society.
really good.
Yeah, they were all. That's the problem. They were all good because they all kind of, they all kind of linked together. It was fun to finally get to play Starfinder. Unfortunately, we haven't had a whole lot of time to continue the playing of said Starfinder, thanks to life kind of got in the way.
I think
Literally, a life got in the way.
No, legit. Like, yeah, he's
I think we all need a little more experience playing it to
Yeah.
kind of get a bit better
to
with
be more
get into
confident
it.
with what we're doing
But-
because it is different than Pathfinder. It's fun,
But we'll
it's-
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. But just as a simple, easy game that we played at Gen Con, tried it out. I really liked it, and so we ended up doing the pre-buy on it, and it came in. We haven't played it yet because it needs 3 to 6, and my husband and I are only 2. So if anyone wants to play it like tonight, we could. Calliope Games, Capital City. It was really easy. I thought it was easy to learn. There is some strategy to it. There is a little bit of, I don't know what to call it. You're building up a town in the Old West, and there's multiple steps to it. And my husband actually liked it. And he's usually not a strategy game player. I am more a strategy game player, and I had
So
a
is
ton
it
of
like
fun
a
with it.
resource management style game?
There is some resource management in it. There is some, depending on turn order. So there's some bidding involved. There is,
Okay.
actually, the box will probably tell you.
You're basically the first thing you do is you bid to determine your turn, and then based off your turn, you can
You get characters to populate your Old West town, and then you purchase building cards from Main Street, and different buildings get you different things, so you have to be smart. How much money do I want to spend for the building versus how much money do I have? And then you put the characters to work in those buildings, and you gain bonuses. From them, you gain bonuses if they're with other family members. Certain parts of it, the turn order goes 1 to 6. Other parts of it, it goes 6 to 1. So you have to think about where do I want to be in each of those turn orders to be
Okay.
most valuable. So there is, like I said, there's some strategy to it, but it's not that complicated. Like I said, we sat down and played through it once, and I was like, I really like this, and so we pre-bought it. So yeah, it's called Capital City. It just came out because we just got it in the mail like week or two ago.
Yeah.
And it's from Calliope Games. So if you guys are, it's like a board game. It played in probably 45 to 60 minutes.
It says 30 to 50. So
Yeah.
Even while being
While
taught,
you're
it took
learning.
about an hour and a half.
Yeah. And
That's
we had
not
6
bad.
players. So we had a full table. So,
I think
yeah.
it's one of those that goes 3 rounds type games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So-
3 rounds and then it's done. So you've got a set end to the game. So I really like it. I want to play it. I don't know when I'm going to get to play it. I need
We'll
a
get
third
there.
player, but anyway, it's fun.
Okay, cool. I would have to say that my favorite game for 2017, I got to play at Fear the Con last year with Zach Lorton, and it was Microscope. Now, if you are not familiar with Microscope, it is a role-playing game in which there is no storyteller or GM or anything like that. Everyone sits at... Something went wrong. I don't want to try again in a few seconds. Don't tell me what to do with my life.
Thanks, Google. What?
Anyway, so Microscope is a tabletop role-playing game where you and your fellow storytellers are building a timeline. And you, at the beginning of the game, you come up with a theme for your game, and then you come up with the bookends of your timeline. So what happens first in your timeline and what happens last in your timeline. And then you go around the table and you add specific periods of time, and then you add events within those periods, and then you can also add scenes inside of those events, and allows you to do some really cool role play. So you're all building this really neat timeline, and you're playing through these specific like improv style scenes and things like that to build. And it's meant to be a standalone game so that you can have a different style role-playing experience and a different game every time you sit down at a table to play it. I have used it. Currently, I am using it to build a timeline and setting for a Pathfinder game that I'm going to be running for some of my cousins and my brothers. And it is one of the neatest experiences just sitting around, having now been doing improv acting for almost 2.5 years now, being able to sit around and use those same improv skills to build this really neat world. It's not just a scene, but you're literally building this world of a timeline. And what's cool is Microscope has actually produced 2 other books that you can use to create the same. It's the same style of role play, but you can create kingdoms. And then they have one that's called Explorer, and it's like I think it's like Space Odyssey based or something along those lines. I'm not 100% familiar with it, but I've had a really good time playing with the Microscope system, and I had a great time playing it with Zach, and we actually used the timeline that we created on Friday to play a game on Saturday that was post that timeline. It was the game where we had a bunch of animated animals and we're running around doing all kinds of craziness. And that game was based on the timeline that we had created the day before in Microscope. That was probably my favorite game of the year, and at least most memorable game of the year. So, we kind of dabbled a little bit in both game and game moments. But if anybody has any standout moments in a game, or like some event that happened in your game or gaming experience that you can expound upon a little bit, I'll go ahead and start just to kind of make it a little easier for you guys to get your juices flowing. So I talked about the Microscope game, but I also talked a little bit about the live-action roleplay game that I played with the Seventh Age people. Now, if you're not familiar with it, and I am not extremely familiar with it, however, Seventh Age started in the Chicago area, and it was run by a couple of guys up in Chicago, and then I believe the principal GM storyteller at the time kind of took some time away from the game, and they started a Seventh Age group here locally in Indianapolis. And that is run by a couple of guys. Jason Avital, what is Jason's last name? Piercy, that's right. Jason Piercy is one of the guys who runs the Seventh Age games, and he invited myself and my brother and several of his other friends, and a lot of people from the original Seventh Age crew from up in Chicago came down for a Halloween party game. And it was like a masquerade, and there was a lot of really cool governmental intrigue, political intrigue going on with it, where there was a vote going on to try and get the Aether to be added into.
That was one of the things.
That was right. I know that was
the
one
treaty
of the,
was about lots of different
That's
things.
right. There was a treaty. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I have only ever played one other live action roleplay game, and it wasn't really the greatest experience. But we met Jason at Indie PopCon last year, and really hit it off well with him and some of the guys he was associated with, and had a really good time. And he invited me to come out and play, and overall, I had a great time at that game. I met a lot of really fun people from like the Chicago area that were coming down for the Seventh Age game. But I would have to say, for gaming moments, that was probably a collection of my favorite gaming moments in one setting, because I got a chance to meet all these people and associate my character, which was a very creepy, weird, masochistic kind of character, which was a lot of fun to play, because that's very opposite of my own personality. And my brother played a werewolf that was a Black Spiral Dancer, and super ready to just beat the crap out of anything.
It's definitely what they do.
Yeah. And so it was really fun, because Josh would leave the room and he would go and talk to somebody, and they would say something intriguing, and then he would come back to me and goes, "Hey, you need to go talk to this guy." I'm like, okay, hang on, let me finish this conversation. And literally all night, that's all we ever did. Is like every other conversation I had was Josh coming up to me and go, "Hey, you need to go talk to this guy. Like, he's got some questions about," and I'm like, okay, hang on, give me just a second. And of course, because I had never played in Seventh Age or really any werewolf, vampire, mage world, I didn't really know everything.
Sure.
But what was great was, because I'm an improv actor, I just, like, people would ask me questions, and I'm like, oh, sure, that's exactly what my goal is. Thanks. Or I would just, just be very, like, twist people's words around.
Yes and
just,
nod.
Yeah. I just yes-anded all night. I just yes-anded all night. And then in the end, I went, wow, that was a lot of fun. I have no idea what I did. But it was a good time. It was a really good time. And I completed 2 of my goals that night, which I did not realize until I read my card like 2 days later, and I went, oh, I guess I did do that one, didn't I?
Did you get to play the VR game?
I did.
What did you think of that?
I did not play.
Let's fill everybody else in.
Yeah.
Jason and 2 of his friends made a VR game.
Yeah.
For this event.
Specific event. It was really neat.
It was running off Jason's phone and his
Gear VR.
His gear. Yeah. And
basically, you were in this
cool.
really weird environment where you had to find these 4 elements, and you had to walk around, and you had one person wearing the helmet with a controller, and then and they could only see so much of their perspective, and then you had 2 people standing outside of the game with a TV in front of them and helping guide them and read the clues and stuff like that they were getting, which was really neat. I thought it was great. I really loved the trials. They had one trial that had like these 3 podiums.
Oh yeah,
that you had to. That was really cool.
They worked
too.
Though. There was so much work on that one too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, when we got the game was supposed to start at like 6, I think.
Yeah.
When we got there, it was like 5:30, and they were still trying to set this one up. It reminded me a lot of like some of the rooms that you go through with True Dungeon. Now, obviously, much more minor in scale, but some of the trials that you have to go through in True Dungeon, where you have to unlock this box to get the key to unlock the box next to it, to get the clue to unlock the last box, and it was kind of that complementary puzzle where
it's an
you're
escape
building.
room.
Kind of, yeah. It was kind of an escape room. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good time, and that was probably the biggest collection of fun gaming moments from my 2017. So now that I've taken up our entire hour explaining that, Katie.
I've fallen asleep.
Okay.
She fell into her phone.
Okay.
Save me, Link.
Power nap.
Let's see. My favorite gaming moment from 2017. It's really not. It doesn't have to do with me so much, but my favorite moment of gaming in 2017 was when Jake and myself got to play our first role-playing game together. We played 7th Sea at Gen Con this year. And it was really fun, like, to watch him, like, get into role-playing, because he had never played any kind of tabletop gaming before, so...
And he's really gotten into a lot of games this year, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's only ever been a computer gamer, so...
Yeah.
It was really fun, like, to help bring him into the fold with that. But, yeah, so it was really cool to get him, like, to see him, like, pick up the mechanics and be like, okay, so wait, what am I doing?
Right.
Okay, so then I'm doing this, and, like, he actually got himself quite a few of the drama die. The guy who ran actually had little tokens for us.
That's
so
cool.
It was really neat to get him like immersed into like a story-based game.
We played Betrayal at Baldur's Gate for like Friends Christmas holiday.
The Friendsgiving,
thing. That was a lot of fun, and he was the betrayer, which was great. And he's
been the betrayer every time we played any betrayal game together.
It was so good though, because like we were all working together. I mean, it was really, in my opinion, the quintessential what Betrayal at House on the Hill or what Betrayal at Baldur's Gate really needs to be, because we were all working together. And then all of a sudden, the twist happens, or whatever. I can't remember what it's called.
The haunt.
The haunt happens, and Jake is the betrayer, and you just see his demeanor totally just flip 180 degrees, and I was like, yes, this is gonna be good. And it was down to the wire.
Yeah, like, it was a really good game.
Really good game.
We had that conversation on the podcast about the betrayer mechanic and everything about that. And I think Betrayal does it the best because you don't know you're the betrayer until the haunt happens.
Until it happens.
Yeah. And then then everyone knows.
It's not hidden. It's
right.
It can
everyone
quite literally
knows.
be anyone at the table, which is cool.
Right. All right.
Rhaegar?
So I had my first campaign with John and Danielle, that crew. I know we've mentioned them before on here.
Sure.
A lot of people here have a long history with them. This was my first campaign, like starting a campaign with them. And the first session, I was kind of a backup. It's a VTM Dark Ages campaign. So Vampire the Masquerade, set in the like 1200s, 1100s during the Crusades.
Dark Ages.
And my particular character is a researcher, like a bard, but I've had enough to essentially have had lived 2 lifetimes.
Like an archivist kind of.
So I have spent one half of my life in the Crusades, building up that military prowess, and the other half as a researcher. But my passion is in research. I was nervous for, probably 3/4 of this session, because I was struggling to feel, like I was doing fine in terms of combat and whatnot, but I was struggling to feel the character until the last few moments. Everybody else in the room, except Mike, our ex-host, and me, everybody had passed out. It was like 2-3 in the morning kind of thing. We'd been going for like 18 hours or something ridiculous.
Not at all.
Danielle.
Oh my gosh.
They are the quintessential marathon gamers.
And we dug up things like a Templar Bible, an Ethiopian Bible, and an Italian Bible. And back in this time, like, the Bible hadn't been translated, kind of thing. So these were rare artifacts. Right. The Knights of Templar, obviously, still rare. We had found some water that this Templar had been baptized in from the River of Jordan, and we were also managed to get ourselves in with some kind of a secret occult organization that actually goes around collecting these religious artifacts. And I'm like, awesome! All of this new stuff that we're finding, roll. So I was really getting into the meat and potatoes of the history and the fluff of the universe, and it didn't happen until we were about done.
Sure.
And it just kept going.
That's cool. That's very cool. Avital, what you got?
I guess I kind of already said, like, in describing LARP, like, a big moment.
That was a pretty good moment.
It was a pretty good moment. Although, I mean, like, just in general, I enjoyed the werewolf game the whole year. Something I really enjoyed. I have to say, I really enjoyed when we played Super Fight for the podcast.
Yeah.
That was good.
And, like, the one round that I had the character that was the innkeeper, the Gestalt innkeeper, that was, like, all of the other characters were, like, its arms and legs.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. Just, like, for the different scenarios, like, using one part of it to, like, get through it or whatever. Like,
By the way, the people at Super Fight sent us the game of You've Got Problems for us to try out in the future. So
awesome. Yeah, no,
thanks
'cause
to that connection
they
on-
messaged me on Instagram because
Oh,
we had
cool.
I don't know if you posted or I posted the picture, and then like I had tagged them or whatever, and
Sure.
they were like, "Hey, thanks for what?" And I was like, I was like, "Yeah, hold on, let me talk to our producer," and so I was like, "Josh,
That's super cool.
Yeah.
yeah."
And
So
we'll definitely have a factor play.
I was like, I'll make a connection.
Networking.
I was like, this is not usually my thing. This is great. Anyways, that was fun.
Okay, so mine is not your traditional gaming moment, but it was having a conversation at the bar with my imaginary friend Winky. For those who aren't sure what in the world that came from, we
I have that
as
conversation a lot. Usually in the bathroom, not a bar.
That's not a conversation, though, Lance.
Donald, myself, and 6 others are a part of an improv troupe that did their first, well, it'd be second
7.
performance, known as Breakfast Anytime, under the comedic guidance of Peter Spellos.
Wait, is there breakfast?
There's not.
There's cookies.
There are.
What is it with breakfast things and they're not being breakfast?
Because you can have
As a matter of
breakfast
fact,
anytime.
it was at night.
It was. You can have breakfast anytime. But you can't come to our improv show anytime. Anyways,
That's
I have to give all the credit to Mrs. Libby Bovin and her hilarious ability to play this character of Winky, my imaginary friend. I've posted on our Facebook page and a few other sites, and I may do the same thing, a link to a video of that improv show. We did a small friends and family show free at a Masonic Lodge on the south side of Indianapolis, and came out and had a lot of fun
We
playing
had like
a bunch.
85, 90 people
Yeah.
there.
Had a bunch of people
It was a packed house. for what
come
we had.
out and enjoy the improv that we've been learning for the last 2 years. It was really a payoff for what we'd been doing. But that scene with Libby, and I've always had a lot of fun with Libby in general. And you almost always, when you're doing improv, you find that there are particular people you play well with, some you may not, and others you just, you know what, we're going to get up and do it. Don and I, of course, have a rapport, but Libby's just a lot of fun in general.
She is.
So
She's hilarious.
I'll post that video, but it was definitely a gaming moment that's hard to forget.
I'm trying to remember if she was in our last game with the toys. Because I played Scottish Barbie. And then Maggie
It's not a statement you hear every day.
Maggie was in the game. No,
No,
it was
Maggie Christian.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
There was
Martin.
Silly Putty. There was the Scottish Barbie. There was a Slinky
And a Hot Wheels car?
and a Hot Wheels
Yes,
car.
that's right. That was
Who
a good
spoke
time.
the whole time he was revving. That
That's-
was pretty
yeah.
entertaining.
Oh my gosh. Debbie,
Yes.
favorite gaming moment for 2017, because Lance doesn't want to go yet.
Okay. Well, I think my favorite gaming moment would have been, well, they were both really good, but so they were both good of the 2 Batman games that Derek ran at Fear the Con. They were both hilarious and a lot of fun for two different reasons. But my favorite gaming moment was in the first one that we played, where I was Adam West Batman. And so it was, thwack, wham, bam. And I would make sure to put those words in as we were in fighting, because as you all know, that's how Adam West Batman was. And I'm like, come on now, people, let's do this. So, and I grew up and I did watch the Adam West Batman growing up, so I was having way too much fun. Holy lightning bug Batman, or I'd be doing, anyway, I needed help, but Derek was entertained at least. So we're going along. I don't even remember exactly what's happening, but the scene is that Adam West Batman, I am climbing up the side of a building in, one of those old, the Adam West style. So it looks very cheesy. He's walking straight up the side of it.
Someone pops their head out of a window.
Yes, someone does pop their head out of a window, and it is Frank Sinatra. Because because Derek wanted it to be Frank Sinatra, and asks me, what are you doing, Batman? Or what's happening, Batman? And I was like, well, I'm on my way to save somebody. And he was like, well, why are you climbing up a building? And I look right at Derek, who is playing Frank Sinatra, and I was like, because I did it my way. And everybody loses it at the table after that count. Wait, and everyone just loses it. And Derek's like, I'm pretty sure I got yum-yums for that one. Because he was like,
if you didn't, someone gave them to you.
Right, someone donated them because they were just
By
so...
the way, we were
playing
playing...
Quags?
No. No.
It
We were
wasn't in
playing
Quags.
Universal Storytelling
Universal
System,
Storytelling
and yet it
System.
still happened. She got candy. I swear.
I don't know who I got it from. Maybe someone had it from another game, from another
Okay.
Quags game. They just had it there in front of them, and they were just like, threw it at me like,
You deserve
candy for that. So that was my proud. And Derek lost it too, and he was like, that you couldn't time that any better. Now the other one was really fun too, and in that one I was Ben Affleck's Batman. So I was all about the suit, and I was all about the, I have money. I have a lot of money.
Say that name.
Exactly, Martha.
That came up so many times.
Oh, it did. It really did. And so that one was very good. So that gets an honorable mention. But my Adam West telling Frank Sinatra I did it my way was my favorite gaming moment of 2017 at Fear the Con.
Spectacular. That's pretty.
Because when do you ever get to do that again? So
All right, let's move in very quickly to
Lance.
Lance.
please.
I was gonna say a similar Batman story where we figured out that Lego Batman learned that he could make anything out of Legos and began to just solving everything. I'll just make it out of Legos.
Nice. I'm Batman.
But the parent in me won't let it go without talking about my daughter learning how to play Mancala and learning to play it in such a fashion that, if you're familiar with Mancala, it's just a gem moving game from hole to hole until you can fill up the sideboards. She learned how to get 11 points in the first turn. And
Wow.
she was very, very proud of this. So that's my
That's
favorite
pretty
gaming
spectacular,
moment.
too.
I'm a chess guy. I learned in my family you learn checkers until you can beat the person, like your parent, in checkers, and then you play chess until you can beat them in chess. Mm-hmm. And she learned Mancala with my mother, her grandmother, and learned how to do this, and she was just so epically proud of herself. Like, look what I can do! So we play a game, and every time she gets those 11 points because she's
Nice.
mastered that opening move.
Nice.
Opening move to do it.
Yeah, my family was a lot like that too. They told me that I couldn't learn how to play chess until I beat my grandfather at checkers, and that's why I learned how to play chess at church camp.
It's funny that you mentioned Mancala because I learned how to play that game with my maternal grandmother. I was a big fun memory for me when I was little. I loved playing that game at Mama and Papa's house.
Bonnie taught our oldest son Joseph how to play. We have a Mancala board at home too.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about Mancala.
Indie PopCon.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Not
So
really.
we're going to be talking about very quickly what our favorite conventions for 2017 were. So we don't
All of them.
necessarily-
Just all of them.
All of
Everyone we
was
went
great.
to, they were all.
all
Okay, how about
special.
let's flip
The Gun
this?
and
Did
Knife
anyone
Show,
have a bad convention experience?
I didn't.
No.
Comic-Con was short for me this year.
Some-
but
I didn't go to Comic-Con.
Somebody had a family member or something.
Oh, so our dog was in the hospital during Gen Con, and he ultimately passed about a week after that, which It was sad. But we're actually very grateful that Gen Con was there because he was in the hospital where he needed to be, and we were at Gen Con allowing ourselves to be distracted. So we weren't sitting there thinking about him all the time. So that was a sad moment, but I'm not going to put that on the convention.
Sure.
So
Okay. So we all had good times at the
Yeah.
convention scene last year. I had a great time at Fear the Con. That's always a really good
yeah,
con.
They're the
PopCon
PopCon
was an
great.
extreme success.
Yeah, that was
Really
great.
looking forward to the future for that. So stay tuned.
I loved that I was able to jump in there and sign the Rubik's Cube with everyone.
So
Heck
good.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who you came with.
My buddy Jason.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
And then Gen Con was good.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love it. Starfinder
Sold out.
was awesome.
Gen Con.
Yeah, okay, so
Starfinder was a great
as
game.
you say that, I've got a list of some gaming highlights. Just
That's
some things
actually
that
what went next.
right.
So
So one of them, of course, being Gen Con selling out. That
Yeah.
was
Oh,
that was a
and being in the field level and under field level
Lucas
at
Oil, yeah.
Oil.
That was
right.
wild.
That was-
That was so
I still
cool.
That was
can't.
really
I'm
cool.
sad I didn't get over to the field. I hope that happens again this year, but we didn't actually get over and
There
see
was-
the field.
Well, $120
mainly
a
because
pop.
we were driving back and forth to the animal
Yeah.
hospital every single
Yeah.
day.
The
so.
museum out there on
Yeah.
the field with all of these
Yeah,
like cool
history of
things
Gen
from the
Con.
original Gen Con and all these. Oh, that was really cool.
On top of Gen
A lot of
Con
stuff,
being
though. If you go to Gary Con, you'll see some
Sure.
of that stuff there.
And thank you everyone who posted
heard of
pictures about that.
Yes.
Specifically for me, anyways.
yeah. Well, on top of the big selling, of course, the release of Starfinder,
Yeah, that was huge.
Paizo was
It sold out
shocked.
in 6 hours.
Yeah,
On Thursday.
yeah. They had no idea it was going to be
Yeah,
that
it
fast.
was
No
humongous.
clue. They brought the same number
I can't
of
believe
books.
they didn't. I thought it would.
They brought the same number, possibly more, books than what they bought for Pathfinder. And Pathfinder was gone third day. Starfinder 6 hours. So
Yeah, on the first. Yeah.
right.
And they were only selling them in front of the Paizo room upstairs in the Sagamore Ballroom.
What, Starfinder?
Yeah.
No, they had them downstairs.
Did they have
Oh
them
yeah,
downstairs?
they had a whole
Okay, 'cause I
stack
never
of
They
saw
them.
kept
them
running up
downstairs.
and downstairs. They would bring them up.
Okay.
And they would run
I
them
never
down.
saw them downstairs, but I know that the upstairs booth sold out of them in 6 hours.
Yeah,
Which is insane.
6 hours is what they said for downstairs as well. So
Okay.
it was crazy.
Insane.
Let's see. For those who are PlayStation 4 fans or PlayStation fans in general, the game The Last Guardian finally released. Anyone that has paid any attention to PlayStation for the last few years, that game has been teased since the PlayStation 2.
Oh, like Diablo.
Yeah. It finally came out for the PlayStation 4.
Oh, so Half-Life 3?
Exactly.
Let's see.
The Incredibles 2 movie. Yeah.
That's coming out this
coming
summer.
out.
Finally.
Right, okay.
Jeez.
A little bit of controversial comments. Star Wars Battlefront 2 and their crate purchasing issues. By the way, if you can hear the little girl,
Hi, Maggie. Welcome to the podcast.
Maggie is sitting here. So, there was a controversy behind that because they introduced free to play mechanics, microtransaction mechanics to Star Wars Battlefront 2's online arena, as it would be, but you could not access such heroes as Darth Vader until you've put in the equivalent like 40,000 credits or something,
Yeah.
which you could either buy or it took like 40 hours of gameplay to be able to get there.
And I think if you were to buy everything, it would come out to be like $2,000.
It was a ridiculous number, but on the same note, you could do it, and people were doing it. Like, you would jump into a multiplayer session and get taken down by Darth Vader the day you opened the game. It was happening that fast. People were buying up so EA made some changes. They pulled the microtransactions all together and sped up credit earning as a way to try and compensate for this. And I think more changes are coming after the first of the year. So
I think they're going to bring all the
Well, it's after the first of
microtransactions
the year.
back.
yes, I know, but let's see for you Microsoft fans, the release of the Xbox One X, the
Yes.
true 4K 60 frames per second game console. From what I'm hearing, Microsoft has been very.
Microsoft finally released a PlayStation or a
PS4 Pro.
PlayStation equivalent
Yeah.
Xbox.
Well, I mean, I'll give them all the credit. I have an Xbox One S. It is the most power-packed 4K Blu-ray player on the market right now.
Yeah. I'm not taking anything away from the original Xbox One or the Xbox One S,
But the X is out there as a power gamer's dream for
Yeah.
those that want PC level gaming on your
console.
television. So apparently they're very happy with the sell for the Black Friday and so forth, but I still have not heard any actual units sold. I do know that PlayStation broke 70 million after Black Friday.
That's insane.
But on top of that, the Nintendo Switch became the fastest selling console in United States history, selling 10 million units in 9 months.
Wow.
I know. Well,
That's
and
Nintendo. Finally.
Deb and I got Deb one for Christmas, and I know Katie's got one.
I got 2 for Christmas.
You did.
That's true. You did.
All right, disclaimer. If anyone on this podcast, listening to this podcast, knows my mother and you tell her I got 2 Switches for Christmas, I will find you and I will Liam Neeson you. That's all I'm saying.
Have you not told her?
Counter,
No, I'm not ruining Christmas.
I counter
gonna
your
ruin
Liam Neeson
Christmas.
with a Jack
My mother
Bauer.
would be
Because now
so
you and Jake both have one.
Yes, we will tell her that after we've had them for a minute and enjoyed them. Okay, so long story.
Tell them after you get married. Like,
Yeah.
Mom, we're one flesh. Now we have our own Switches.
Long story short, I jokingly told my mother to get me a Switch for Christmas. Not when she asked what I wanted, not thinking she would really get me one. I said, you can get me a Nintendo Switch. She goes, how about something a little less expensive? I said, hey, it was worth a try. Well, my mother bought me a Nintendo Switch, and I realized this on the 23rd of December when I went to my parents' house to pick up my brother's gift that I had shipped there. I saw a present that said to Caitlin and Jake, and I picked it up, and I was like, this is like a Switch box. Holy crap, my mom got me a Switch. She actually did it. That's so sweet. Well, Jake, being a listening and attentive significant other, bought me a Switch for Christmas because he thought my mother would not.
I love
Right.
that, man.
Sure.
So I texted my
Jake,
This
It's
is like
my
the gift of
birthday.
the Magi in reverse.
I texted my younger brother Christmas Day and said, Bubba, do you know what Mom and Dad got me? And he said, yes. Why? And I said, listen, I don't need to know what it is unless it's a Switch. If it's a Switch, I need to know because Jake got me one and I need to know if I need to not bring it over. He goes, yeah, they got you a Switch. So now this worked out perfectly though.
Call her
because
out for Garrett.
I say,
Like, looking
I know,
out for
right?
you.
Like what?
That
What a
dude.
great younger brother.
Mom, look what Jake got me. Oh, God.
Oh, no. But it worked out really well because we just took a road trip to Colorado. We drove, so we both played while the other one was driving on our own Switches. We have our own games and stuff, so it's actually worked out really
yeah, that
well.
whole talking
But
thing on the road trips.
Don't
Who does
don't tell my mother. She is a wonderful woman and does not deserve to have her
Yes,
heart
she
broken.
After buying you something that you
Okay.
thought that she initially thought was too expensive,
This is
so buying it
why
for
this
you.
is why we always get gift receipts.
It's so
right.
true. Oh, boy.
On the Switch, the Legend of Zelda you mentioned earlier is by many facets being considered Game of the Year this year for video games.
There's a new Mario game for it.
Super Mario Odyssey. I've
I
already
really
beat the main
enjoyed it.
storyline. It's
I'm
really
excited
good.
to get that one. I've already downloaded Mario Kart 8 because I loved that game on the Wii U.
really
That's the
enjoyed
only
that.
So
thing,
much fun.
It's the only thing she's played.
The only thing I've played
I got
so far.
her the Game of the Year, Super Mario Odyssey, and Mario Kart
That's
8.
all
and
she
that's the
played
only
when
she
you had the Wii U.
I know.
That's all she played.
Speaking of that,
I have your Wii U.
And we have the Switch.
so that was good to kind of work that out with Don's because
That's the great thing about the Wii is they come out with a new one every other year. So you just give the old one to your friends.
so yeah, I need you to tell this story with Joey
Oh,
on
my
that.
God.
This was so adorable.
Okay, so on Christmas Day, we did our running around. We got home, and Joe, my oldest son Joseph, and my second son Daniel, 8 and 6, they're really excited because they unwrapped the Wii U before we left to go to my wife's uncle's house. So when we get home, they want me to hook it up, and we're gonna play some stuff. And Joey goes, Daddy, it's really exciting because now I can play a Wii U at home, and I can play a Wii U at Josh Demery's house. And I went, well, you can't play one at Josh's house anymore. And he goes, well, why? And I said,
They got rid of it.
because I bought it. So you can play ours. And he's like, okay. And I said, and Josh bought Debbie a Switch. And he goes, Josh bought Debbie a Switch? Oh my gosh. I have a post-millennial gamer child. What have I done right?
Everything. You've done it all right.
Yeah, so, yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was
Josh bought Debbie a Switch!
hysterical.
So those are just some
So
of the
I can
highlights.
play a Switch over Josh and Deb's? Well, that's up to them.
Wii U at
That's up
my
to them.
house?
That's right. He was, and he has not put down He hasn't put it down. Literally, he plays Yoshi's Woolly World. He plays Mario Kart a little bit, and now his new addiction is Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yes.
He beats the tar out of everyone.
Because he's too young for Mortal Kombat.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to start him in stages. You know? So I have not yet played him.
Who's his
in
preferred
Super
character in Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Who did he play the other?
Well, why
day?
he
Yoshi? He plays Yoshi a little bit. Is it Neff?
Ness?
Ness is, I think, one of his favorites. Okay. So I have not actually gotten a chance to beat him yet because I haven't played it. But I will let you know.
Beat him with Kirby.
Lucario is my dude. I am a soak it. I got you. I am a soak it and power up your moves kind of guy. Because I'm not that great at the game. So I figure if I only know 2 buttons and I can take a bunch of damage, I'll just tank until I get my my finisher, and then I'll just.
I just like being able to swallow everybody.
Yeah,
and
right.
Spit them out at everybody else.
Well, Yoshi's great because he'll eat you, and then he'll eat you, and then he will lay an egg.
From?
He will lay an egg. So.
Yeah, if anybody
Goodness gracious.
you don't even have to ask. Obviously, my go-to character for Smash is Link.
I love Link.
Has been Link,
I like
always will be
I play
Link.
Dark Link when I play him.
If it's depending on the versions of Smash, I know some of them do. If there's one where Link's in a purple tunic, duh.
Yeah.
Katie's got Link in a purple tunic. Let's be real.
I like Toon Link too. He's
Yeah.
I think they did that in this most recent Smash Brothers. Is that you can actually change the outfit?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Anyway, so we've had a lot of really fun. We had a lot of really.
a lot of really fun.
We had a lot of really fun.
It's like we've done this podcast.
We had a great time in 2017.
was had by all.
2017 was
We
good.
made the most of it.
That's right. We did. And I know we're all looking forward to new games, new conventions, and new experiences in our gaming in 2018. And one thing that I do want to bring up on a little bit more of a serious note, and this is, obviously in 2017, there were losses that we had with celebrities and different things like that. And one thing I would be heartbroken if I didn't bring up, but our friend Pat Roper passed away. What do you remember specifically?
in the 28th or 29th of December.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
So-
near the end of the month.
Yeah.
With he had some complications with his battle with pancreatic cancer, and I know for us, the Fear the Boot community, we are booters. We are part of the Fear the Boot community, and all those guys mean a lot to us. We get a chance to hang out with them at Fear the Con every year in St. Louis, and the loss of Pat is a big loss for not just the booter community, but obviously his family and a lot of his closest friends. With Dan and Wayne, it's going to be tough this year, but I know that I've spoken to Beth a little bit, and I know that obviously she's doing the best she can with kids and stuff like that. But we want to. I know that normally we try and keep our podcast apolitical, areligious, but I will say, on a personal note, as Big Don, the host of the Established Facts, the Roper family is in my prayers, and I know that in general for the entire podcast, that whole family, we wish you the best. We love you guys. We know it's not going to be easy, but you always have us to lean on if you need us. We want to extend our condolences out to the entire Fear the Boot community, all of the podcast hosts, and anybody who listens to Fear the Boot and knows Pat, or even if you didn't know Pat, if you just know his personality and his voice. He was a great guy, and he will be missed. He will be remembered, and I think there's probably going to be some teary eyes and some toasts to his honor at Fear the Con 11, in June. But we wanted to give our condolences and just remind you guys, as friends and as gamers and as geeks, take every opportunity you can to love the people that you're next to, even if they're complete strangers. and remind the people that you are closest with that they mean so much to you. You know, on this podcast, we're all really good friends and we all game together. But in general, I think we pretty much all look at each other as brothers and sisters in this community and just in our relationships with one another. And it's no different than with us as it is with the Fear the Boot community. So, that being said, we are going to move in to our first fact of 2018. So, on episode 164 of the Established Facts, our last episode of 2017.
Merry Fluxmas.
Our Merry Fluxmas episode of 2017. I started listening to that episode today, and the first thing I say on that episode, I'm pretty sure, is Merry Fluxmas, and I almost crawled out of my own skin because I was like, what did I just say? Okay. All right, cool. I'm good. Okay.
Because you say it rather quickly.
Yeah, I do. On our last episode of the Established Facts, we established holiday goals. Number 1, see family. Number 2, exchange gifts with said family. Number 3, consume enough alcohol to forget about your obnoxious, mildly racist family. Happy holidays. And on this episode of The Established Facts, our 200, good lord.
We're not there yet.
That is quite a jump.
Episode, I was trying to say
Episode
2017 review, but I
217
our
review.
Our episode 165 fact. Oh dear God.
Our
just
New
help
Year's
me.
resolution fact.
Our New Year's
Happy holidays.
Sasquatch.
our fact for this
Effingham.
freaking episode.
Effingham episode.
We want to welcome you to 2018. The Wham Bam Powing Hyrulean Suspicious Yellow Arena of Doom.
Now roll initiative.
Now roll initiative.
If you need help, call 1-800-THE-WOMP.
That's right.
Bye.
We love you guys, and we will check you later.
This year.
See ya.
Bye. Please visit us at www.theestablishedfacts.com and our Facebook page, facebook.com/theestablishedfacts. If you would like to support us by buying some merchandise, visit cafepress.com/castingrobot.
Bonus.